Osiris.
Good morning, everybody. This is RJ from Osiris. This is the drop for January 25th, 2023. Got a few things I want to tell you about, and as I mentioned, I'll be doing a sort of 90-second little preview of some of these stories on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and wherever you watch a video. Okay, there was more ticketing controversy yesterday. The Senate Judiciary Committee held a hearing about whether Live Nation and Ticketmaster's merger in 2010 has stifled competition and hurt consumers. This is typical Congress coming in and talking about something 12 years after it happens. And I know for sure that if the Taylor Swift debacle hadn't happened, there wouldn't have been a hearing. This kind of reminds me of the 90s and early 2000s when these very old senators would express extreme shock at how the internet works. For music fans like us who have been around and dealing with this for a long time, this is old news. They were talking about bots. These bots, are they real? How do you get rid of them? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, every single time we try to get tickets, this is what happens. But leave it to Taylor Swift to bring a lot of attention and to unite the country. Maybe she's a future presidential candidate. But I don't know if the Senate and if legislation can really do anything here. I mean, we're talking about a really complex system with artists, ticketing companies, venues, promoters, and, fast changing and really adaptable technology. It's pretty complicated. I'm pretty skeptical that legislation can do anything. Bob Lefsetz, as I've mentioned yesterday, has talked about this extensively in his newsletter. And, not to oversimplify, but he basically thinks the status quo is kind of where we have to be and that people need to get used to paying more for tickets. And, I understand his perspective. He says people are willing to spend $100 to go to dinner, but not spend $100 on a concert ticket. I'm not sure that's true, but ticketing prices are going up pretty drastically. And I don't know if there's a solution. I mean, we have to decide whether to go to shows or not. But I don't think the Senate and Congress, I just don't think they can do very much. Okay, Justin Bieber has sold his catalog to Hipgnosis, $200 million. They're buying 100% of his publishing royalties from his master recordings. This is their biggest acquisition to date, Hipgnosis. This is everything released prior to December 31st, 2021, including his most recent album. So as you probably know, in 2021, artists like Bruce Springsteen, Paul Simon, Justin Timberlake, Leonard Cohen, Kenny Chesney, Neil Young, Nelly Furtado all sold some of their rights to Hipgnosis. Sting, David Bowie's estate, Phil Collins and Genesis, Frank Zappa's estate, Neil Diamond also sold assets to investors in 2022. People have asked me, what does a publishing company do? So Hipgnosis buys these rights. What do they do? They're basically in charge of promoting and monetizing the catalog. So licensing songs for film, TV, ads, other media, monitoring song usage. There's a lot of data involved, of course, collecting, distributing royalties. As a music fan, I'm a little bit split on whether this actually matters as a music fan. I don't think this really affects the way that we consume music because, the streaming that has sort of taken over is going to continue. I don't know if it affects the way artists make music, probably not, but it definitely is part of this trend. It's sort of like the Live Nation Ticketmaster thing. You have these gigantic companies consolidating in different areas of music. We have ticketing and venues with Live Nation and Ticketmaster. We have these publishing deals with these big companies like Hipgnosis and a bunch of private equity firms that are acquiring catalogs. And, if you think that huge corporations owning art is not great, then, you might not be a fan of this. But the music's not going anywhere, of course, and so it'll be there for us to listen to. But we'll talk more about this in the future. Okay, the Sphere, the Las Vegas MSG Sphere will be open by fall 2023. Our friend Scott Bernstein at JamBase had reported on this today. This place is going to be absolutely incredible. If you haven't seen the pictures, look at it. This is going to be the new Vegas venue. They said that they're going to announce new top acts that will be there in 2022 and 2023. So in the next few weeks, we'll probably hear about bands coming and playing here. So this place is going to be insane. If you're a fan of amazing rock shows, which you probably are if you're listening to this, I think this is going to be a don't miss for a band like Phish if they ever play there. The possibilities are kind of endless. It could change the concert going experience forever. I think that's the Sphere's goal anyway. It's going to have the largest LED screen in the world, 164,000 speakers, and what they describe as 4D features, including scent and wind. So if you just think about that, I mean, it's hard to understand, but how that will affect it. But if you imagine a band like Phish going in there, I mean, the things that they could do as part of a production is just going to be totally incredible. I think this is a really exciting story, and I'm not sure that people are paying that close of attention to it, but I think they will as artists start to announce dates there. All right, and lastly, I want to tell you quickly about the Helping Friendly podcast. We're doing 40 years of Phish, 40 for 40. We're doing 40 episodes throughout the year. We're rolling on. We just hit 1985 this week. We do a live episode every Monday afternoon, and then we post it right after. But we're going to touch on every year of the 40 years of Phish history, including those years when they didn't play. We'll talk about side projects or other projects. But you should check that out. All this stuff is going to be updated daily, because I like talking to you guys. Send me feedback, thoughts, additions, something I missed, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks.
Osiris.